So before we talk about A Complete Unknown, if you guys want to check out my feature film Quesadilla, you can. It's on Amazon right now. You can also buy the physical copy. So cool. Very excited about that. Also, you can check out my link tree. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, all my social media, stuff like that. Always looking to connect with other filmmakers. Hit that like and subscribe button. Let's talk about A Complete Unknown. And I'm not going to lie, I am tweaking right now because I have A Complete Unknown and then I have Nosferatu later this night. And then I'm also seeing Baby Girl. And I also have like 3 Christmases to go to. It's a lot, so I'm gonna have to hurry up and get this video out. A Complete Unknown stars Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan, and it's directed by James Mangold. If you're not familiar with who James Mangold is, he's a terrific director. He did Ford v Ferrari, Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash biopic. He also did this, the new Indiana Jones film, which I don't know, some people are kind of upset about. And it stars, of course, Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan, Monica Barbeau as Joan Baez, Edward Norton as Pete Seeger, which we'll talk about Edward Norton in a second. Ellie Fanning as Sylvie Rousseau. Boyd Holbrook as Johnny Cash, which is extremely shocking. It is extremely shocking because when I see him in a film like The Predator, he's in Narcos, Logan, I mean, even The Bike Riders, it's just, oh my gosh, he was a transformation. I mean, he did a phenomenal job as Johnny Cash, especially because it's kind of funny because James Mango directed the Johnny Cash biopic Walk the Line. So this has been my opinion on biopics. I enjoy biopics and I enjoy why, or well, I understand why a lot of the times biopics are usually about musicians. It's mainly because, I mean, if you look at the whole cultural remembrance of individuals. I mean, especially nowadays, usually I would say if there was like a ladder or whatever, most people know musical artists more than anybody. Then after that, probably like actors and athletes. And then under that, you know, I'm not sure what would go under that. I mean, maybe other types of athletes, maybe film directors. I mean, there's a reason why you don't see movies made about film directors or movies made about other professions. It's usually about musical artists. And the reason being is because they live pretty hectic lives. They live pretty entertaining lives most of the time. But the interesting thing about A Complete Unknown is it's not something like The Dirt from Motley Crue. It's not something like Bohemian Rhapsody with Freddie Mercury or Rocket Man with Elton John. This is a very laid-back film about the rise of Bob Dylan, how he got his start, his relationship with other musicians in the industry, and sort of how he wanted to do his own thing. It's very refreshing to see a film about somebody who never really cared too much about fame to begin with, which those typically tend to be my favorite types of people that just so happen to become famous, but that wasn't their actual goal. And there's plenty of people like that out there when it comes to making not even just music, but also films and television and athletes and, you know, stuff like that. Probably even politicians as well, because I would probably say actually it would most likely be musical artists, then politicians, and then probably like actors or athletes. That's usually what people know of the most. And Bob Dylan is one of the most well-known individuals, not only in music history, but probably in history. I mean, even if you don't listen to Bob Dylan, you probably know who he is. I mean, I grew up with Bob Dylan. I grew up with Johnny Cash. I mean, my favorite types of music, you know, I'm not really into, I mean, I like older country and folk and such, but I'm definitely more of a classic rock type of guy, classical music type of guy, I guess you could say. I know those are two, like, completely different spectrums when it comes to music. I guess maybe some similarities there. But yeah, Bob Dylan, he's a very chill dude. If you look at all the other musicians, if they were, I don't know, what's a crazy animal? Like dogs. I don't know. Am I comparing musicians to dogs? I don't mean to do. There's a point. I promise. There's a point. If musicians are any other crazy animal, there we go. Bob Dylan is a cat. Bob Dylan just kind of reminds me of a cat sitting down, doing his own thing, and if you interrupt him or bother him, especially if you don't let him do his own thing. And Timothy Chalamet did a really good job portraying that on the screen. Again, you know, like somebody who's a huge fan of music, I mean, these people that make music for you, they're almost like, in a way, an enigma because you're kind of just there for the music most of the time. But when you actually get to see a biopic, which is why I like them so much, you sort of get to see how they operate and what was going on in their head. And in a sense, it kind of makes the music more powerful. And that was one thing about Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan that I was wondering, if he was going to play this character. How was he going to play this character? Was he going to make him extremely likable? Was he going to make him extremely not likable? Really, he made Bob Dylan completely neutral. And I think that's the way to go about it, because I don't, when it comes to some musical artists, some famous people, you think, oh, okay, well, I like them, or, oh, okay, I don't like them. But Bob Dylan's really just been that guy that I've kind of just listened to his music, and I haven't bothered really looking much into his, I guess you could say, personal life. So yeah, there's that. Also, the cinematography is great. I mean, every James Mangold film that you see looks really good. It's shot in anamorphic. I noticed that they used some natural lens flares, but they also used some blue lens flares. That was a nice touch. I kind of like the balance there. It's crisp, it's clean, it looks really good. I mean, that's what you get with a lot of these musical biopics, a lot of these studio films that come out. They look really nice and they look really clean. Whether or not you like that or not, that's just kind of how they are. And really, I don't mean this in a bad way whatsoever, but A Complete Unknown is that musical biopic that's come out during Christmas that you can go see. That's really all I have to say about it. It doesn't fail. It succeeds in many, many, many ways. Is it my favorite film of the year? Absolutely not. But is it one of the best films from a technical standpoint? Sure, I think so, especially with the music, because I don't mean to just sound like a stale Rice Krispie treat, but the singing is really good. The music sounds really good. I wish I could go into more depth with that, but it just sounds really good, especially with Timothy Chalamet humming the lyrics. It just sounds awesome. And Edward Norton. I want to talk about Edward Norton because Edward Norton, Edward Norton, that guy right there. I have a VHS of Fight Club. We don't talk about that. He did a great job. And the reason why I wanted to talk about him in A League of His Own is I would love to see him get a supporting actor nom. He was great. He was so likable. He transformed into the role. I love how Edward Norton has been taking on these roles that aren't extremely too screen heavy. He's kind of just there, not to just be there, but he is there to sort of support the film in the background. And I like that about Edward Norton. Is he can be in the lead sometimes, he can be in the background sometimes. I just think that he's such a terrific actor. He is that one of those actors that every single time he's in something, I usually go see it just because I love his film so much. But guys, check out A Complete Unknown. It's in a theater near you now.